So today we are going to start a new chapter, that is carbon and its compounds. So in this carbon and its compounds, and its carbon and its compounds. In this, if you go for introduction, in introduction we are going to study something about, that is, what do you exactly mean by carbon and its compounds. Indirectly we are learning something about the organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is nothing but chemistry of carbon compounds. Chemistry of carbon compounds. If you take sources of carbon compounds, here we can take, that is, food we consume, the clothes we wear, the medicines which we try to use, okay. Then you can take wood, which contains cellulose. All these are made of carbon. They are the sources of carbon. And you also know that in atmospheric percentage of carbon is approximately 0.03. So here carbon is everywhere. Carbon is available indirectly, it is also available in oxides, carbonates, then chlorides. Okay, oxides and carbonates means you can take here carbon monoxide gas and carbon dioxide gas. Carbonates, if you take, it contains calcium carbonate. It also contains, you can take in the form of, that is, sometimes you can even take in the form of suboxides C3O2 and so on. So all these are the sources of carbon compound. So the next part of our discussion after introduction is, that is, we learn something exclusively about the properties of carbon, uniqueness of carbon. If you take uniqueness of carbon is, it's a non-metal. Carbon is a non-metal. It has, if you take atomic number is 6, so if you take, consider this as nucleus, first shell 2 electrons, second shell 4 electrons. So these 4 electrons are called valency electrons. These 4 electrons are called valence electrons. Because of these 4 electrons, the carbon with the 4 valence electrons, it will gain 4 electrons and it will form C4 minus, and the same carbon, it will lose 4 electrons and it will carry 4 positive charges. That means here carbon, here you can take one example methane has -4 oxidation state. Methane has -4 oxidation state. If you take carbon here, example carbon dioxide, carbon has +4 oxidation state. That means carbon is available in both forms. Here C4 minus, okay, carbon exists in the form of hydride, and C4 plus carbon exists in the form of oxide. Next, carbon can reacts with the metals, non-metals, and metalloids. You can react with metals, non-metals, and metalloids. So that means, that is the reason, because it is able to react with the metals, non-metals, and metalloids. It is because of this reason it is highly reactive element. Highly reactive element, and it shows an important property called catenation. It is highly reactive element and it shows the property of catenation. So the catenation property in carbon can be explained by taking example, that is catenation in carbon. Interlinking. What is the meaning of catenation? Interlinking of carbon atoms in straight chain, or in the form of branch chain. Branch chain is simply called as, that is catenation. Simply called as catenation. Now, that means we already know that the carbon is tetravalent. Carbon is tetravalent since number of valence electrons in carbon is equal to 4 electrons. If carbon is tetravalent, using the Lewis electron dot structure method, take the carbon, you take the 4 electrons. These are the 4 valence electrons. This 4 valence electrons gives you the tetravalency nature. This results in the formation of the linking. Suppose if I take, that means it can form 4 bonds. It will result in the formation of 4 covalent bonds. 4 covalent bonds. The carbon will result in the formation of 4 covalent bonds. So when the interlinking is going on, you can take this carbon, it will form straight chains, as well it will also form branched chains. It will also form branched chains like this. This is nothing but catenation in carbon. But one thing what you have to notice here is, when you go for covalent bond formation, the next part of the discussion is covalent bond formation in carbon. Covalent bond formation in carbon. If you take covalent bond formation in carbon, what do you mean by covalent bond? Equal sharing of equal sharing of valence electrons, equal sharing of valence electrons between two atoms, equal sharing of valence electrons between two atoms results in covalent bond. A covalent bond is stronger, but it has weak intermolecular forces. It has weak intermolecular forces. That is the reason we can say molecules with the covalent bond formation, molecules with covalent bond formation are poor conductors of electricity. This is because no charged ions are formed. No charged ions are formed. Take some examples. If you take examples like carbon dioxide and you take methane, we can even take ethane. C2H6 it is ethane, and CH4 it is methane, and CO2 carbon dioxide. CO2 it is carbon dioxide. If you look into the structures of the carbon dioxide, methane and ethane, we can easily understand that the sharing of electrons taking place equally. The valence electrons of the carbon and hydrogen in methane, and the valence electrons of carbon and hydrogen in ethane, and the valence electrons of carbon and oxygen in carbon dioxide, they share equally, and that will result in the formation of covalent bond. And because of the formation of covalent bond, there is no question of formation of any charges there in the molecules. These bonds, no doubt, they are all the covalent bonds, no doubt they are stronger, but because they have weak intermolecular attractive forces, they do not ionize, and if they are not able to ionize, then they are poor conductors of electricity. If they are poor conductors of electricity, no charges are formed, no charges or no ions are formed within the molecules, and that will also result because of this, because of the weaker intermolecular forces due to weaker intermolecular forces, this will also result in lowering of melting point and boiling point. Lowering of melting point and boiling point. Next part of the discussion is allotropy of carbon. Of carbon. In this, if you go for allotropy, they have same chemical properties, but differ in they have same chemical properties but differ in physical properties. They have same chemical properties but differ in physical properties. So here, if you take allotropy of carbon has 3 crystalline allotrophic 3 crystalline allotrophs, that is, one is carbon diamond in the form of carbon diamond, second is carbon graphite, third, if you take C60, this is Buckminster fullerene, So if you take first and the foremost, if you take carbon diamond, if you take here, in the case of carbon diamond, if you take in carbon diamond, carbon undergoes, first point is carbon has sp3 hybridization, no free electron available. Because of the non-availability of free electron, this is a bad electrolytic conductor. Diamond, because of the bad electrolytic conductor, it is very hard. Carbon, because it is undergoing sp3 hybridization, it is giant structure. If you take giant 3-dimensional covalent structure it has, and it is physically it is very hard. It has reflection property, that is, it diamond glows because of total internal reflection, and it has very high density. It has very high density and refractive index. It has very high density and refractive index. If you go to the structure of diamond, if you go to the actual shape or structure of the diamond, shape and structure, if you take each carbon in diamond is tetravalent. So you can just show it like this. So you are finding that carbon is always tetravalent. You take this structure here, the carbon is already tetravalent because it contains 4 bonds, but you are finding that each dot here again represents a carbon. So here, if you take the structure of diamond, shape and structure of diamond, carbon is always tetravalent. So you can see each carbon is having 4 covalent bonds. Whichever carbon you take in diamond, it is having 4 covalent bonds, and this is having tetrahedral structure. Actually, it is having tetrahedral symmetry. So for example, if I join these 4 bonds like this, this is going to be the tetrahedral. This is called tetrahedral plane. One carbon with 4 additional carbons will have a tetrahedral plane. Suppose if I place one more carbon here, one more carbon here and one more carbon, 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 carbon and carbon. Okay, you are finding that one carbon with 4 additional carbons are in the form of tetrahedral plane, and that is why we are saying that in diamond carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization, and that is because of that you find that there are no free electrons available, and because of that it's a bad electrolytic conductor, and because of that it is very hard. So here now next part of the discussion is, now previously we have studied about the structure, shape, different properties of diamond, its conductivity, then its density, refractive index, so on and so forth. That is the allotrophic form of carbon, crystalline allotrophic form of carbon. Now similarly we are going to study something about the properties, structure and shape of the diamond and its conductivity also. So if you, the graphite, if you go for graphite, second part of the allotroph of carbon, here we will go for the structure, shape, conductivity and its other properties of graphite, which is also an allotrophic form of carbon, which is crystalline in nature. So if you go for carbon graphite, first I will give you the structure of, let me put it in this way. If you go for the carbon graphite, we are studying about the structure and shape. If you take here, you take carbon, carbon undergoes, carbon atomic number is 6, and if you write the electronic configuration, helium of 2s 1, 2p x1, 2p y1, 2p z1. Of course, this is excited state configuration of the carbon. Now we know very well that in carbon, in graphite the carbon undergoes sp2, s on s orbital, one p orbital, another p orbital, undergoes sp2 hybridization. sp2 hybridization. If it is undergoing sp2 hybridization, then based on this, you know very well that if the carbon is undergoing sp2 hybridization, carbon, if it is sp2 hybridized, carbon if it is sp2 hybridized, then it will result in the triangular plane like this. That will result in, it has a triangular planar. Triangular planar condition it acquires, but because graphite, if you go to the internal structure of graphite, you find that these graphite atoms of carbon, if you take the internal structure, the structure more or less looks like this. That is, you can take each dot represents a carbon here. Each dot represents a carbon here. Represents a carbon here, and now suppose if I am taking here okay. So what you are noticing is you can see the internal structure of the graphite from this representation. From this representation, so like this, we are finding that this is one hexagonal plane, and each dot represents a carbon which is undergoing sp2 hybridization, which is having one free electron, one free electron, representation with one free electron. And you can see this is one hexagonal plane and this is another hexagonal plane. Another hexagonal plane. Between two hexagonal planes you find that weak van der Waals forces, weak van der Waals forces operate between two hexagonal planes, and internally you find that internally each hexagon has 6 carbons with the one free electron. So based on this, now we can say that if you go to graphite of carbon is giant two-dimensional, So graphite has giant two-dimensional structure, based on that two-dimensional structure. So if that is the case, then because it has a free electron, graphite is soft. It is soft due to the presence of weak van der Waals forces. VF stands for van der Waals forces. It's a good electrolytic conductor. It's a good electrolytic conductor because of the presence of free electron. Because of its softness, it marks the paper. Graphite, because of its softness, due to softness, it marks paper. It marks the paper. One is it marks the paper. It is used in as electrodes in electrolysis. And so on. These are some of the important uses of graphite. And just like diamond and graphite, here the graphite, if you take, when it is subjected to carbon graphite, when it is subjected to combustion or oxidation, it immediately forms carbon dioxide. It's participating in oxidation. So the next part of our discussion here is, let us go to the next topic under our discussion, that is saturated and unsaturated unsaturated hydrocarbons. So if you go for saturated hydrocarbons, here when you go for saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons, let us do the classification. If you go for classification, indirectly we are speaking about classification of hydrocarbons, If you go for a hydrocarbon, hydrocarbons are made up of carbon and hydrogen. They contain only two elements, one is carbon and one is hydrogen. So if you take these hydrocarbons, if you go for the classification, hydrocarbons, they are divided into three types. One is alkanes, another one is alkenes, another one is alkynes. So what I am doing here is, in all three cases of hydrocarbons, you are finding that a common word is used, that is alk. Here alk is the root word of hydrocarbon, and ane is the primary suffix. Ene also it is primary suffix, and ine also it is primary suffix. So if you go for alkenes, again if you go for alkenes, these are saturated hydrocarbons, alkenes and alkynes together, these are unsaturated hydrocarbons. So again if you take alkanes, general formula, let me put it in this way, general formula of hydrocarbons, saturated and unsaturated. In particular, for if you go for alkanes, general formula, you can take the formula, that is Cn of H2n plus 2 is the general formula. B alkenes, general formula, Cn of H2n is the general formula. Again C alkynes, general formula, Cn of H2n minus 2. Cn of H2n minus 2 is the general formula. Suppose if I am substituting here, for this case, if I am substituting n is equal to 1, then the first simplest alkane we are going to get, for n is equal to 1, we get the simplest alkane CH4. For n is equal to 2, we get the simplest alkane C2H6, that is ethane, and so on. Again, for n is equal to 1, if you substitute in alkenes, n is equal to, here for alkenes the minimum number of carbons should be 2. For alkenes and alkynes, minimum number of carbons should be 2. So if for n is equal to 2, you get here C2H4, and again n is equal to 3, you get here C3H6. Again here n is equal to 2, C2H2, and here again n is equal to 3, C3H4. So what is interesting here is, I will take all this and I am going to highlight here. So CH4 is methane, or you can call it as marsh gas or natural gas. And it's an alkane. This methane is an alkane. C2H6, again it is ethane, because it is ending with the word ane. Again this is also an alkane. Go for C2H4, it's an alkene, it is called ethylene, or you can call it as ethene, ethylene or ethene. If you go for C3H6, Again it is alkene because it is ending with ene. This is propylene or propene. Again, next C2H2, this is alkyne. Ine because you can call it as acetylene or you can call it as ethine. Again C3H4, again alkyne. It's an alkyne, call it as simply propyne. So all this comes under the important general formula and the respective molecular formula of the compounds. We have only studied the respective molecular formula of the compounds and we did not go into the structure of these hydrocarbons in the form of alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So now after learning the molecular formula based on their general formula respectively from alkanes, alkenes and alkynes based on their general formula, that is Cn of H2n plus 2 for alkanes and Cn of H2n for alkenes and Cn of H2n minus 2 for alkynes. We have assigned all these molecular formula of the compounds, but we do not go into the structures of this molecular formula of the compounds of the hydrocarbon, that is saturated and unsaturated. So now we look into the structural aspects of these hydrocarbons, of both saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons, and we will find out what kind of linkage they have and what kind of catenation tendency they have and what is the kind of chain formation and how they are satisfying the tetravalency or the covalency of the carbon also we are going to understand. So today we are going to continue with the next part of the discussion of hydrocarbons, that is general properties of hydrocarbons, that is alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So here that is alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So let us go like this. First I will take alkanes, then I will take alkenes, then I will take alkynes. So if you go for alkenes, general formula if you take general formula Cn of H2n plus 2. If you go for the general formula of alkenes, that is Cn of H2n. If you go for general formula of alkynes, it is Cn of H2n minus 2. Suppose if you are substituting n is equal to 2, in the case of alkanes, there are alkanes and these are alkenes and these are alkynes. So if you take alkanes, if you substitute where n represents the number of carbons in all the cases of alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So if you take n is equal to 1 here, for n is equal to 1, you get the hydrocarbon alkane, that is CH4. By substituting the value of n and calculating, you get CH4. This CH4 is regarded as the simplest alkane. This alkane CH4 is called methane or natural gas, or sometimes it is also called as damp fire. Suppose if you are substituting for n is equal to 2, you get the next higher alkane, that is C2H6. C2H6 is actually called as C2H6 is ethane. So the root word of the given hydrocarbon always keeps changing. Here the root word is eth and here the root word is meth. So here CH4 is methane and C2H6 is ethane. Similarly, if you go for the next higher n value, n is equal to 3, then you get the next higher hydrocarbon of alkane, that is C3H8. So the C3H8 we call it as propane. Similarly, you go for that is alkenes. In alkenes, we are supposed to start the n value taking n is equal to 2, because if you take n is equal to 1, the alkene never exists. So take n is equal to 2. If you substitute n is equal to 2, then you get a hydrocarbon, that is unsaturated hydrocarbon C2H4. The C2H4 can be called as, that is ethylene or ethene. It has two names. When you say ethylene, this hydrocarbon of alkene, it is unsaturated hydrocarbon. So C2H4 is ethylene. When you say ethylene, it is called common name. CN stands for common name. Ethene is the IUPAC name, technical name. Anyhow, go for the next higher value. For n is equal to 3, you get the next higher hydrocarbon C3H6. The C3H6, yes, just like in the case of previous hydrocarbon, for n is equal to 2, we can call this as propylene. Propylene is the common name, and propene is the IUPAC name. It is not a compulsion that every hydrocarbon of alkane and alkyne should have both the names, common names and IUPAC names. Sometimes we can only choose IUPAC names. As the hydrocarbons goes for higher number, the number of carbons are higher, you can only take IUPAC name into consideration. So for n is equal to 4, you get C4H8. So C4H8 means directly I am writing only the IUPAC name, it is butene. We look into the structural aspects once we complete the alkynes also. Now similarly, you go for alkynes. For n is equal to 2, the alkyne hydrocarbon is going to become C2H2, because the number of carbons are less, lower member. You can give both the names, one is acetylene or ethyne. Acetylene is the common name and ethyne is the IUPAC name. Ethyne is the IUPAC name. Go for the next higher hydrocarbon. For n is equal to 3, this is C3H4 and this is propyne. Only IUPAC name I am giving you. Propyne is the IUPAC name, and if you go for n is equal to 4, C4H6, so you find here butane. So the root word is changing every time. For 2 carbons it is eth, for 3 carbons it is prop, for 4 carbons it is but, and the primary suffix changes according to the nature of the hydrocarbon which you are choosing. Here alkane, alkene, alkyne. Alkane is the root word, RW. N is the primary suffix. 1 degree is called primary. Again, alk, root word. In, again it is primary suffix. Again alk, root word, primary suffix. What do you mean by root word? RW means root word. Root word means simply number of carbon atoms of hydrocarbon. Number of carbon atoms of hydrocarbon. Primary suffix, when you say primary suffix, it gives the number of bonds. If it is ane only, if it is ane, it gives a single bond. If it is ene, it gives a double bond. If it is ine, it gives a triple bond. So from this table, now the next part of the discussion will be their structural aspects, structural formula. When you go for structural formula, whether they have straight chain or branched chain, whether they have how many number of bonds between the two carbons, all this we are going to look into their structural aspects in the next part of the discussion. Okay, so the next part of the discussion here is, if you go to the structural aspects of hydrocarbons, of alkenes, and alkynes. Structural aspects of alkenes and alkynes. So here, if you are going to take the alkanes in particular, if you take alkanes, in alkanes, if you take hydrocarbons CH4, C2H6, C3H8, C4H10, all these comes under the molecular formulae. All this comes under molecular formulae. So if you take this methane, if you want to write the structural formula of methane, structural formula or formulae, if you go for methane, you can write the methane structure as, because carbon is tetravalent, first you highlight the 4 covalent bonds for each carbon and you look after the number of adjacent hydrogens. The number of adjacent hydrogens are 4. So this is the structure of methane molecule. This methane molecule, because it is having a tetrahedral plane, if I give the tetrahedral plane, this is tetrahedral shape. It has tetrahedral shape, and its bond angle is 109 degrees 28 minutes. Likewise, if you go for C2H6, this is ethane, C2H6 is ethane, and CH4 is methane. If you go for C2H6, then you can take the structure as first, second, third, fourth. Take the tetravalency of each carbon, again join another carbon, again show the tetravalency of the carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again attach all the hydrogens. So you find that here there are 6 hydrogens with 2 carbons. Again, each carbon is again tetravalent here. Each carbon is again tetravalent. Tetravalent molecule. Tetravalent, and its shape is tetrahedral shape. Likewise, you can also take, that is C3H8. If you go for C3H8, you can take the structure, take 3 carbons, attach the valencies, just like catenation property of carbon. There are 3 carbons. First satisfy the tetravalencies for each carbon. Each carbon is having 4 covalent bonds. First carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. Second carbon again 1, 2, 3, 4. Third carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you check the total number of hydrogens. We have 8 hydrogens. So attach 1 hydrogen here, 1 hydrogen here, 1 hydrogen here, 1 hydrogen here, hydrogen, hydrogen, and hydrogen. You can see that the length of the carbon chain is 3. There are 3 carbons, so length of the carbon chain is 3. Likewise, if you go for butane, that is, if you go for butane, I think I can write, you can show here butane C4H10. If you take, this is butane. If you go for butane, then you can take number of carbons are 4. So immediately 1, 2, 3, 4. Satisfy. This is called carbon skeleton. First you have to show the carbon skeleton. When you are showing this carbon skeleton, attach each carbon with the covalent bonds. Then you satisfy the rest of the valences of each carbon. First carbon is tetravalent, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Second carbon again tetravalent, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third carbon again tetravalent. Fourth carbon also tetravalent. This is called skeleton of the carbon, and it is also giving the straight chain. If it is giving straight chain, then you also check the total number of hydrogens. Number of hydrogens are 10 hydrogens here. Molecular formula is C4H10. It has 4 hydrogens and 4 carbons and 10 hydrogens. So you can take all the hydrogens and adjust it with the covalent bonds of carbon. Covalent bonds of carbon. So here all this comes under the structural aspects of the alkanes, and these alkanes sometimes they also show isomerism. Isomerism. What is isomerism? Isomerism of an hydrocarbon is the property in which has same molecular formula, but differ in structural formulae. For example, for alkanes, if you take butane, C4H10 is butane. It can give two different types of isomers. One is it can give chain isomer. What are chain isomers? Pair of isomers which differ in the straight chain or in branched chain. So if C4H10 can be written in two different formats, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is straight chain. If it is a branched chain, it can give one branch like this. This is one branch. If you want to show this in bond line representation, there are 4 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons are there. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is also straight chain only. If this is branched chain, then you can show 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here it is very clear. Here the branch is very clear. Branch is very clear here. This is the branch. Here it is straight chain. This is a straight chain actually. This is a branched chain. You can see the branch curvature. So we can call this as, because it is a branch, wherever branch is there, you can add a prefix iso. Isobutane. It is a straight chain. So simply you can say normal. N stands for normal. N means normal. Normal butane. So satisfy the tetravalencies now for each carbon. Satisfy the tetravalencies. So you can take here hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. Here also you can take hydrogen. Here also you can take hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. And here you can take hydrogen. For isobutane, yes. For isobutane, there is only one bond here. So therefore you can take 3 hydrogens. Again 1 bond, 3 hydrogens. 3 bonds, take 1 hydrogen. 1 bond, again take 3 hydrogens. This is isobutane. If you want to expand this isobutane, still you can expand. That is, you can take here 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. Again 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here only 3 bonds are there. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 hydrogens, 4 hydrogens, 5 hydrogens, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is isobutane. You can see here, this is the branch. You can able to notice here. This is isobutane. This is the branch. This is isobutane. Okay. This is isobutane. So all these are the structural aspects of the alkanes. Likewise, we will also study the structural aspects of the alkenes with their molecular formula of the compound. Just like in the case of alkanes, Alkenes also will show the property of isomerism, and we'll study what isomerism it can show in the case of alkenes. Okay, so the next part of the discussion here is the structural aspects of alkenes. Structural aspects of alkenes. If you go for the structural aspects of alkenes, the simplest alkene is C2H2 is the simplest alkene. The next higher alkene is C3H4, and the next higher alkene is C4H6. C2H6 is ethyne. Ethyne, root word is eth, and because two carbons are there, so root word is eth. C3H4, propyne, because the number of carbons are 3. C4H6 is butane. Butane, because the number of carbons are 4. So what we are noticing here is, if you take the structural aspects of acetylene, if you take acetylene, this is A, this is B, and this is C. If you go for A, C2H2, take the structural aspects, write the skeleton of the C2H2. So if you take carbon, because there are two carbons attached one single bond, then there are two hydrogens. So first you satisfy the tetravalency of the carbon. So because it is an alkyne, it's an alkyne. Sorry, this is alkene I've written. So this will become alkyne. Alkyne, because it is an alkyne. If it is an alkyne, then compulsory between the two carbons there should be a triple bond. If it is triple bond, then you can find that between two carbons compulsory there should be a triple bond, and you have only two hydrogens. So place one hydrogen over here and place another hydrogen over here. If you go to the shape of this alkyne, that is acetylene, you can just take, it is a linear shape structure. It has a linear pattern, so it's like this is linear shape, bond angle (180°). So suppose if you can take here the same structure as carbon triple bond, hydrogen, so here the bond angle is 180° between carbon and hydrogen, bond angle is 180°, and here between two carbons there is a triple bond. This is a triple bond, which is an important characteristic feature of the alkynes. Similarly, you go for C3H4, next B, go for C3H4. If you go for C3H4, there are three carbons, 1, 2, 3. Because it's an alkyne, between any two carbons you create a triple bond, and here you satisfy the tetravalencies of each carbon. Here also triple bond, then single bond hydrogen, hydrogen, and hydrogen. So what we are noticing here is, again we have a triple bond between two carbons, or you can simply write this as CH3, single bond, carbon triple bond, single bond hydrogen. This is the expanded form of the structure of propyne, and this is condensed form of the structure of propyne. Or you can write the same structure as, if you consider each methyl group as one dot, there are three carbons, 1, 2, 3, this is a triple bond, so here one bond is there and here one bond is there. This is the bond line representation of the alkynes. Here there are two carbons, here also you can show the bond line representation. There are two carbons and in between there is a triple bond, so simply you can place it like this. This is the bond line representation. Each dot over here represents a carbon. Here one carbon is there, here one carbon is there, and here also one carbon is there. This is propyne. Similarly, you go for butane. If you go for butane, that is C4H6 is butane, number of carbons are 4. You can create a triple bond between any two carbons. One is, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4. you can create a triple bond over here. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can create a triple bond over here. So what is happening, these two structures also they are going to give the isomerism. Alkynes gives isomerism just like alkanes. Here you can see that if you want to satisfy the tetravalencies, here we have 3 bonds. For the first 2 carbons we have 3 bonds, triple bond. So satisfy the tetravalency, attach one single bond over here and take one hydrogen. Here come back to this hydrogen, come back to this carbon, it has 2 covalent bonds. So satisfy the tetravalency, attach 2 more covalent bonds and place the hydrogens. Here again one single bond is there over here. So place 3 hydrogens and satisfy the tetravalency of the carbon. You can see that there are 4 carbons and 6 hydrogens. So if you look into the chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, there are 6 hydrogens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is the expanded structure of the butane. Still, if you want to write the structure of butane in the same format, condensed structure also you can write CH3 single bond, CH2 single bond, carbon triple bond, single bond hydrogen. So this is one structure of that is butane. Now we can call this as butane because here the triple bond is located after the first carbon. Immediately after the first carbon, here the triple bond is located. Then again second, third carbon and fourth carbon. So you can call it as 1-butane. 1-butane. Now go for the second case. Here the triple bond is located in between the 2 carbons. It is in the middle of the chain. So you can start from the left side or you can start from the right side if you want to give the numbering. So you can just take, suppose you first satisfy the tetravalencies of each carbon. So take hydrogen, single bond, hydrogen, again single bond hydrogen. Already 4 bonds are there for this carbon, 4 bonds are there for this particular carbon. Go for the terminal carbon, 1, 2, 3. So you can see again number of hydrogens are only 6, but the triple bond is in between the longest chain. So or you can write this as CH3 single bond, carbon triple bond, single bond CH3, because the triple bond is located in between carbon chain. So you can start the chain from any side, either from left side or from right side. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. So if you, because you are starting from the left side, the triple bond is located after the second carbon. That is why here you can say 2-butane. 2-butane. So 1-butane and 2-butane. Therefore, we can come to one conclusion: 1-butane and 2-butane. 1-butane and 2-butane are positional isomers. Positional isomers. 1-butane and 2-butane are positional isomers. 1-butane and 2-butane are positional isomers. So next part of the discussion, next structural aspects of hydrocarbons, that is structural aspects of alkenes. If we go to the structural aspects of alkenes, the simplest alkene is, that is C2H4 is the simplest alkene. This is ethene. C3H4, this is propene, and C4H6 is butane. So if you take here, if you are taking C2H4, you take the structural aspects, there are 2 carbons. So I am taking 2 carbons, satisfy the tetravalency. You place a double bond between 2 carbons and there are 4 hydrogens. So first hydrogen, second hydrogen, third hydrogen and fourth hydrogen. What you are noticing here is between 2 carbons you find that there is a double bond. That's why it's an alkene. So if you take the shape of the C2H4 molecule, yes, it's a planar molecule. It's a planar molecule. The shape is planar. It's a planar molecule. So if you go for B, C3H4, if you take, it is propene, this is propene. If you take propene, yes, you can take 3 carbons, that is 1, 2 and 3. You can create a double bond anywhere, either between these 2 carbons, or you can create the double bond between these 2 carbons or these 2 carbons. So I am creating the double bond between the first 2 carbons from the right side to the left side. So here, if you take, because every carbon is tetravalent, so again you add 2 bonds here. Here we have 3 bonds, so attach 1 more bond. Here we have only 1 bond, so you take another 3 more bonds. Hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Here 1 hydrogen, and here also 1 hydrogen. So therefore here, this is nothing but propene. So you can just write here, or simply CH3 single bond, CH double bond, CH2. You can see that there is a double bond between the longest chain of the carbon. You are finding that there is a double bond. That's why we can call this as propene. Prop-ene. 3 carbons, prop, double bond, ene. So propene. Go for the next case, that is C, butene. C4H6 is butene. If it is butene, then you can take here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it can give the chain isomerism as well as positional isomerism. So you can take here, you can create a double bond between first 2 carbons, and you can place 2 bonds here, attach 1 bond here, attach 2 bonds here, and attach 3 bonds here, and satisfy the tetravalencies. 6 hydrogen, so 3, here 2, this is C4H6, yeah, already 5, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, C4H8, sorry, this is C4H8, 5, 6, C4, C3, this is C3, C3H4 is propene, so this is C4H8, so this is C4H8, so if it is C4H8, number of hydrogens are 8, yes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so this is butene, the structure of butene, or you can just simply write it as, that is CH3, single bond, CH2, single bond, CH, double bond, CH2, or you can write here, or you can write the same butene as, that is CH3, CH double bond, CH, CH3, or you can show the bond line structure as first carbon, second carbon, third carbon and fourth carbon. You are finding a double bond 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you are finding the double bond between second and third, so you can create a double bond between second and third carbon. Here also you can show the bond line representation. If you want to show the bond line representation, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here the double bond is between first and second carbon, 1, 2, 3 and 4, first and second carbon. So you place a double bond here. So this is bond line representation of bond line structure of 1 butene, bond line structure of 2 butene. So therefore we can come to one conclusion saying that 1 butene and 2 butene, 1 butene and 2 butene, 2 butenes are positional isomers. Positional isomers. You can also prepare one cyclobutane. You can also prepare cyclic structures. Suppose, for example, for same C4H8, you can prepare a cyclobutane. Number of carbons are 4, so take 4 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, carbons. There are 8 hydrogens, so you can take here 2 hydrogens you place over here, 2 bonds, here 2 bonds, here 2 bonds, and here also 2 bonds. So you can take here so this is the structure of the cyclobutane, or you can simply write this as CH2 single bond CH2 single bond CH2 single bond CH2, or you can simply show the bond line structure as the cyclobutane like this. Each corner it has 1 carbon provided. Each corner it has 1 carbon provided. Here 1 carbon, here 1 carbon, and here 1 carbon, cyclobutane. So like this you can prepare the cyclobutane, because you find all single bonds here. Or you can take the same structure, that is bond line structure of cyclobutane, bond line structure of cyclobutane. Each corner is having 1 carbon, and this is automatically understood as cyclobutane. 2 hydrogens are hiding at each carbon. It's a bond line representation. In bond line representation, we only highlight the number of carbons at the 4 corners of the square, and for each carbon 2 hydrogens are hiding in that particular plane. So the next part of the discussion here in organic chemistry, that is hydrocarbon of organic chemistry, is nomenclature of organic compounds. So in this nomenclature of organic compounds, if you go for an organic compound, you take an organic compound. An organic compound is made up of a root word. Root word represents number of carbons. Then an organic compound is made up of primary, suffix. When you say primary suffix, it is, we can take in terms of with respect to, when you say primary suffix, you can take it as "-ane", you can take it as "-ene", you can take it as "-ine". "-ane" stands for alkanes, "-ene" stands for alkenes, and "-ine" stands for alkynes. Apart from this, it is also having the second, after primary suffix you can go for secondary suffix. Here 2 degree stands for secondary suffix. Secondary suffix actually gives the the technical name of the functional group. Secondary suffix is nothing but naming of functional group. Naming of the functional group. Then you can take the primary prefix. Primary prefix, it is used for cyclocompounds. And the last one is, that is numerical prefix. This indicates number of groups, number of substituents or groups which are repeating again and again in the same manner. Numerical prefix means, suppose for example you take, that is for a given organic compound, for an organic compound Okay, numerical suffix is mentioned in terms of di, tri, tetra, and so on. So for example, one example I would like to give you to make you to understand very clearly. One example I would like to give you. Suppose I am taking take one example, but 2 in 1 ol. Say for example, you are taking one organic compound which is having the IUPAC name. This is the IUPAC name. This is the IUPAC name. But 2 in 1 ol is the IUPAC name. So here the word but stands for root word. So therefore, if here but is the root word and in is the secondary in is not secondary, that is, sorry, this is primary suffix. It is primary suffix, and ol is nothing but the secondary suffix. This is one example. That means here bit represents root word represents the number of carbons, in represents the primary suffix, whether it contains a double bond or single bond or triple bond, like that, and ol is the secondary suffix which gives the functional group. Root word represents number of carbons. This is example 1. Go for example 2. I'll give you much more simpler example. I'm going to give you much more simpler example. I'm going to give you, that is, suppose for example, but 2 in 3 ine. Suppose an organic compound whose hydrocarbon is given by the IUPAC name, that is but 2 in and 3 ine. So here cast the root word, in is the primary suffix, in and ine both of them are primary suffixes. So suppose if you want to write the structure for both this, if you want to write the structure for this but 2 in and 1 ol and but 2 in and 3 ine, if you want to write the structures, for example, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 ol. So for if you take the numbering 1, 2, 3 and 4, so this is ol means it is alcohol. So attach OH, then you says 2 in means after second carbon you create one double bond, 1 ol. Satisfy the tetravalencies. So attach one bond here, 3 covalent bonds will come for the fourth carbon, and 1 covalent bond with hydrogen will come for the third carbon, again 1 covalent bond with hydrogen for the second carbon, and 1 single bond hydrogen. This is bit 2 in 1 ol. This is bit 2 in 1 ol is a structure. If you go to the structural formulae of bit 2 in and 1 ol, that is, you can take 4 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 ol. If you take 1 ol means 1 alcohol, attach 1 alcohol here, 1, 2, 3, 4, give the numbering, then 2 in, after second carbon create a double bond, then satisfy the tetravalencies. So 1, 2, 3, again 1 covalent bond. Here already 3 bonds are there, so to take one more covalent bond, here only 2 bonds are there, so attach 1 covalent bond here and 1 covalent bond here. So single bond hydrogen, again single bond hydrogen, single bond hydrogen, single bond hydrogen, single bond hydrogen, and single bond hydrogen. This is the structural formulae for bit 2 in 1 ol. Likewise, similarly, if you go for bit 2 in 3 ine, if you take 1, 2, 3, 4 and bit 2 in, so 1, 2, 3, bit 2 in 3 ion. So bit 2 in 3 ion means if you take here double bond 3 ion, so 3 ion means I think bit 2 in, I can say this as, you better change it to 1 ion, not 2 in, because the condition doesn't accept, or else you can take here, you change the root word here, instead of bit you take pent, that is much better, and make it 3 ion, pent 3 ion. So pent 3 ion means I am attaching one more carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pent 3 ion, with 2 in, pent 3 ion. So this we make it as 1 in, pent 1 in, 3 ion. So you can take one double bond here and one triple bond after the third carbon. Root word is pent. So therefore satisfy the tetravalencies here for the fifth carbon, carbon single bond hydrogen, carbon single bond hydrogen, and carbon single bond hydrogen. Again here also already fourth carbon we have 4 covalent bonds, and the third carbon also we have 4 covalent bonds, and the second carbon we have only 3 bonds. So attachment single bond hydrogen, and here single bond hydrogen, single bond hydrogen. So this is the structural formula for pent 1 in and 3 ion. So the next part of the discussion is, that is, let us study something about the nomenclature of organic compounds in terms of their functional groups, and writing the IUPAC names and their structures of the organic compounds. So based on that, here we can take class of organic compounds, class of organic compounds, then you can take functional group, general formula, general formulae, then we can take secondary suffix, and the appropriate example. So class of organic compounds, functional groups, general formulae, secondary suffix, and examples. So what I can do here is, let us start one by one. Suppose I am going with the first one, that is alcohols. The class of organic compounds are alcohols. Functional group is OH. Or you can just write it as, you can just show it like this. This is the functional group of alcohol with the oxygen. And general formula, you can take ROH. This is alkyl group, alkyl aliphatic alcohol. Secondary suffix is ol. Example, you can take CH3, CH2, OH, ethyl alcohol. Secondary suffix is ol, ethyl alcohol or ethanol. So this is alcohols. Go for the next case, that is ethers. If you take ethers, general form, functional group, ethereal oxygen, we call this as ethereal oxygen. Then general formula, R, O, single bond, R, secondary suffix, oxy. Example, we can take C2H5, O, C2H5. This is ethoxy, ethane. So here you have a lone pair here, ethoxyethane. So let's continue. That is the next part of the discussion. In this, you are finding that the class of organic compound are organic compounds are ethers. The functional group is ethereal oxygen, and this is dialkyl ether. You can name this compound as dialkyl ether, and the secondary suffix for ethers is oxy, and we can take these examples. First example is ethoxyethane, and the second example is, that is, here you are finding that there are two carbons, and here you are finding that there is only one carbon. That's why we can write the IUPAC name as, that is, methoxyethane methoxyethane is the IUPAC name. So we have completed two classes of organic compounds. Next we'll go for the next part of the discussion, that is, we can go for carbonyl compounds. Carbonyl in carbonyl compounds, A, that is, we can take aldehydes. If you go for aldehydes, functional group of aldehydes functional group is, okay, that is aldehyde functional group. We can take hydrogen single bond, carbon double bond with one carbonyl group. The aldehyde must and should contain CHO. This is aldehyde. General formula, you can take R, C double bond O of H. Secondary suffix is al. Example, you can take H single bond O of H. This is formaldehyde. And you can take one more example, that is CH3 single bond, carbon double bond, single bond hydrogen. This is acetaldehyde. Also called ethanol. If you go for next case, that is ketone, if you take, the functional group is simply carbonyl group. So this is ketone. So here you can take R single bond, carbon double bond oxygen, R. Secondary suffix is non. Example, you can take CH3 single bond, carbon double bond, CH3. This we call it as, you can call it as acetone, or you can call it as 2-propanone. 2-propanone is the IUPAC name. 2-propanone is the IUPAC name. Ethanol is the IUPAC name. Methoxyethane is the IUPAC name. Ethoxyethane is the IUPAC name, and ethanol is also the IUPAC name. So we'll go for the next part of the discussion, that is next part of the class of organic compound. Let us assume that the compound is amines, functional group NH2, general formula is RNH2. Example you can take, that is C2H5NH2 with a lone pair on nitrogen. Okay, you can take, this is the example, and here secondary suffix you can simply give amino. Amino is the secondary suffix. Amino is the secondary suffix. So therefore, now what's happening here is, like, take one or two examples. Examples you can take. Examples if you take. Examples if you are going to take here. In the examples you can take ethylamine, and you can also take, sometimes you can take aromatic amines also you can take. This is ethylamine. You can even take few more examples, like this is called amino benzene. aminobenzene, or sometimes you can also call it as aniline. You can call this as aniline. So this comes under the class of compounds, that is amines. Then you can take next part of the class of compound, class of organic compound, that is you can take amides or acyl halides. You can take acyl halides. Acyl halides, functional group C double bond O of X, where here X is the halogen. X is the halogen. Example, general formula, we can take R C double bond O of X, acyl halide. Example, you can take example CH3 CH2 carbon double bond chlorine. This is propanoyl chloride. Propanoyl chloride is the example which you can take. So likewise you can take one more class of compound, that is amides. General formula, carbon double bond oxygen NH2. This is the whole thing, the structure, call this as amide. General formula RC double bond O of NH2. Alkyl amide. Example, you can take CH3 carbon double bond oxygen NH2. Acetamide. So now after understanding the table with the class of organic compounds, then identifying their functional group, then writing their secondary suffix, giving the general formula and their respective example. Now let us do one small exercise in this organic compounds, that is how many structural isomers are possible for the compound. The question is, how many structural isomers are possible? For compound pentane. So if you go for pentane, this is C5H12 is the molecular formula. If you go for the structural formula, the best thing is take the number of carbon atoms. The number of carbons are 5. Root word pentane. So this is pent. Pent is the root word and ane is the primary suffix. So now therefore what we can do here is, the number of possible structural isomers possible in the case of pentane are, I think it is 3. First we will go with straight chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Satisfy the tetravalencies, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Attach the number of hydrogens, 3 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, again 2 hydrogens, hydrogen, 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 hydrogen and hydrogen. So here this leads to, this is nothing but expanded structural formula of pentane. So the same thing you can write it as CH3 single bond, CH2 single bond, CH2 single bond, CH2 CH3. You can see in between the carbon chain you can find that the individual members, you can see one methylene group over here, another methylene group over here and another methylene group over here. these three methylene groups, these are called homologues. Homologues. Repeat of same functional groups. Fg stands for functional groups. Fg stands for functional groups. So each homologue is behaving as a similar functional group. So what is meant by the CH2 group? CH2 group is a homologue. It has the same properties, same physical properties. It has the same physical properties, and it's a sort of repetence. Wherever the CH2 group is repeating, wherever the number of CH2 groups are increasing, the hydrocarbon also will increase in its carbon chain, and it will change in its properties. So based on that, what we can say here is, that is, this is pentane, this is first isomeric structure, this is first isomeric structure of pentane, I mean for the molecular formula C5H12. Second isomeric structure you can take. Now I am going to create a branch. If I create a branch, then you get here, this is the branch I want to create. This is called isopentane. Isopentane. Satisfy the tetravalencies, CH3, single bond CH3, again 3 covalent bonds, so take one hydrogen here, again here CH2, and again here CH3. So if you want to write the IUPAC name, take the longest chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to become the substituent. So therefore 2-methyl butane. 2-methyl butane. So therefore we can, that means this is the first isomer, this is number 1, first structural isomer, this is second structural isomer, this is second. Go for third. If you go for third, I think we can go for the third, that is third isomer. If you take, you can create a cyclic branch like this, CH3, CH3, CH3. This is called neopentane. Neopentane. Write the IUPAC name, 1, 2 and 3. So on the second carbon there are 2 methyl groups. Here 1 methyl group, and here also 1 methyl group. So therefore 2, 2 dimethyl propane is the IUPAC name. 2, 2 dimethyl propane is the IUPAC name. So therefore the answer for this question, the answer is the total number of structural isomers is equal to 3. Those are n-pentane, isopentane, and neopentane. 3 isomers are possible: n-pentane, isopentane, and neopentane. 3 isomers are possible.